Hello, leading ladies of the light. How are you doing? It's Myra Medhurst here, coming to you live inside the private Facebook group, The Golden Path Experience. If this is the first time you've ever heard me share on the internet, please say hi. I would love to meet you. If you tend to watch me quite a bit or you're already an active member within the community, please send a heart. I would love to welcome you and say hi again. If you're watching the replay, you can hashtag replay. So I have just come out of a yin yoga class. And so this evening's class may be a bit yin in nature. My beautiful boy is asleep already, and I'm just alone in the temple with all the leading ladies of light. So thank you. Let me know if you join in and where you're tuning from if you do see this live class. So I'm really passionate about what I'm going to share next. And I wrote a social media post about this 3 or 4 years ago, and it hit a nerve. It got shared. It didn't go viral, but there was a fair bit of interest in this piece of writing and one of my teachings. And I feel the need to share this again within the community. And it has to do with how you orientate your life to what calendar, what rhythm you choose to live your life by. And this is a very powerful decision that a human can make as to how they wish to arrange the rhythm of their life. So I'm going to give a bit of a history lesson. So we are still currently using what is known as a Gregorian calendar, which funnily enough came out of the Vatican City in 1582. And this is off the back end of 300 years of the burning, what's known as the burning years. And if you're not familiar with the burning years, as a woman, I strongly encourage you to do a little bit of research. And so important for a woman to understand and know about the burning years, a part of our history where for 300 years, so you could say that's roughly 3 to 4 generations, probably 4 to 5 generations of a female line that were targeted through witch hunts, persecutions of priestesses, public humiliation. A lot of us lived in fear, and there was a lot of hunting, torture, murder of the sorts. And so a lot of the feminine wisdom and feminine lineage got severed here from the burning years. Interestingly enough, after that, in 1582, out of Vatican City, they began a new calendar from the Julian, a switch over into the Gregorian calendar, which is a solar dating system. So you can see how, perhaps intentionally, as a bit of trickery, to disrupt and sever over 300 years a very strong feminine lineage of healers, priestesses, midwives, healers, teachers. And then shortly after, they then change a calendar to disrupt the natural cycle that a female body would actually sink into. And this is intentional, I believe, intentional move out of Vatican City by Pope Gregory VIII. So this is what we still, in very much the West, still follow a heavily biased patriarchal calendar system. Now, this is going to be under review more and more as the years continue to pass. The reason that is as the humanity's evolution and awareness begins to increase, it will intuitively begin to read and sync itself more and more with nature. For those that are sensitive and intuitive, you feel that January the 1st, not because someone else has told you, but because you feel it in your body, January the 1st is feeling really off now. And it's not feeling like a celebratory new year. And you are very right to feel that, because a drumbeat of the patriarchal system is telling you, hey, if you drive and kind of bulldoze over the top of your life all of the way through December and keep pushing your adrenals and your nervous system, and you think you're celebrating the new year in the 1st of January. And so what is going to happen is that the calendars we will, as a humanity, decide to have a re-education. There is a need right now, it is becoming a popular topic to talk about, a re-education around the calendars that we orientate ourselves to. Hi, Kristen. Hi, Lisa. Thanks so much for joining. So lovely to see you. So then we look, the most logical thing to look next to, if we're to leave the solar calendar, is we would look to the lunar calendar. The lunar calendar is followed by huge population on our planet. The Hindus basically follow a lunar calendar. If you want strictly a pure lunar calendar, that's the Islamic calendar, where basically the months kind of shift ahead roughly about 11 days every solar year. So the lunar calendar begins to kind of blossom on the 10th of February. This is the Chinese Lunar New Year. So if something is lunar, it is more a feminine-led principle. If we're to look at the solar calendar, which is heavily the Gregorian current calendar we use in the West, that's a solar patriarchal kind of beat, rhythm. I hear a lot, so I refer to music and rhythm a lot. And then we have the lunar calendar starting soon. But this is the feminine principle. Now, in anything I teach, the magic is in the Trinity, where we just don't acknowledge, not just acknowledge the masculine principle and the feminine principle, not just the solar and the lunar principle, but there's this beautiful, beautiful point of unification if we are to merge these two principles. And herein lays the third possibility. This merging the feminine and the masculine is what actually brings us to the 0 point. And this is as if God's hand was like piercing through the veil and touching and being present in your life. From the 0 point, we enter a portal, a timeless dimension connected to the unified field. And we do become, it's like we meet our Creator in that third possibility. So the manifestation process is a 3-step, it's a Trinity process. That's why your soul's highest mission is a 3-step process. And so a really miraculous thing occurred in my life about 10 years ago when I was living in Melbourne, Australia. And through incredible synchronistic events, I'd met a Persian man. This man ended up working in my husband's business, building and renovation business. He was an incredible tiler, and he became a soul brother and incredible. We eventually helped him with Muhammad is his name. He has now legally changed his name to Michael because he wants to be Australian. But he now owns property in Queensland. He now doesn't live too far from us. And we've been able to help him with his, permanent residency. So when we met Muhammad on a beautiful evening, he began to share his calendar from ancient Persia. And my ears pricked up and I'm like, ooh, this is a conversation I am ready for. Because at that time, I only knew about the Gregorian solar calendar and loosely I knew about the lunar calendar at this point. Muhammad began to share that there is another calendar practiced still in ancient Persia, which is called a Lunisolar calendar. A marriage between and a deep ancient understanding of the natural cycles and rhythms, allowing space for the solar calendar, but also it honored the lunar calendar as well. And so this was the trinity that I was looking for. This was the unification of the solar calendar, unified and merged with the lunar calendar. And that begins on autumn equinox. I'm like, what? I know the autumn equinox. It's the start of the astrological year. And I'm like, of course. Of course. How could this be right in front of us the whole time and I not see it? So the astrological calendar starts on March 20. Now, as a leading lady of the light, and if you are here out in the forefront building out this new architecture for the new golden earth, I would want to be syncing my life with the Lunisolar calendar. Please look this up, Lunisolar calendar, ancient Persia, starting on autumn equinox, March 20 this year. And now this marriage between the two calendars makes complete sense. And we will go through, humanity will go through as a collective consciousness, we will outgrow the solar Gregorian calendar. It is up for review and debate already. I see it spoken a lot about in January on social media. And then it kind of fizzles out. And then we start again and have this discussion around the lunar calendar, which is incredibly powerful. This is the return of the divine feminine. That's why all of this body embodiment work, syncing your life, understanding the cycle, the menstrual cycle of the woman, the rise of sales of lunar calendars, lunar diaries. This is all women reclaiming the natural cycles within their body, reclaiming their power. But I just want to remind humanity that there's a third step. There's always a third step, and it is the merge and the marrying of the masculine, the feminine, the positive charge and the negative ion. And when you bring those two together, you are now meeting the center point, which is the 0 point, which is you pretty much piercing the veil and meeting yourself as a divine embodiment. So I encourage you. The outside world is not going to change the calendars for us. This is a personal quest. I still use a traditional solar calendar. I just don't expect New Year energies in January. And then February then looks incredibly different for me. But I assure you, for every leading lady of the light, come March 20, the end of March and in April, you will notice a huge shift in your life. And so I timestamp this and write this down. Notice where the solar calendar begins. Notice where the lunar calendar begins. And notice the trinity of the marriage between those two, which is practiced still to this day out of ancient Persia, which is where some of our Atlantean brothers and sisters fled to. We're all around the world, don't worry about that. But that is how you see exquisite sacred geometry and artwork and their textiles and their tiling, their mosques, their incredible architecture. It comes from the descendants of Atlantis in Persia, if you're lucky enough to be in that country, or Morocco. There's remnants of Atlantis all over the globe. So I personally am really beginning to orientate my life more to the beginning of the new year, the astrological year, March 20. I'm going to see what kind of, and I'll kind of share more of the updates, how that goes. But I know that when I orientate my life, particular celebrations, bigger milestones, even the alignment I do for my offerings, the days that I launch, the days I open mentorship programs, the days that I run my international retreats in Vanuatu, in Egypt, they are all interfaced in a very different calendar, the Lunisolar calendar. Let me know what you think of this teaching. Give it some research, contemplate it, and share your thoughts. And I can't wait to teach more in here and see more beautiful leading ladies of the light. I love you so much. You're so much more powerful if you listen to the intuition and the rhythms of your own body. I love you, and remember, follow your golden path.